No more secrets.
You're right. You were right from the start. I'm sorry, Chiron. So, ask.
Who is Azrael?
Azrael, High Prophetess of Borbarad, the Demon Master. She is the head of the Church of Borbarad.
What does she want from us? Why did she kidnap Calandra, and what do you have to do with it?
You know we spent all those years fleeing through the Shadowlands, from one hiding place to another, constantly in fear of the Borbaradians. We weren't randomly pursued, Chiron. We fled Azrael's minions, who were out to capture us, me and the two of you.
All those years? Why?
To get revenge. Before you were born, I was a Borbaradian myself. I served Azrael with all my... I was her loyal servant. But then I betrayed her. Betrayed and robbed her.
Why?
For Calandra and for you.
All this effort, the wedding, the infiltration of Rondrians, all because of Calandra?
Chiron, Calandra is not just anyone. You're not just anyone either.
What do you mean?
Azrael chose you both. You and 5 other children. You 7 were not born like other children. You came into the world as part of a ritual in which Azrael summoned a powerful demon. This demon was to provide you with vast powers from the nether hells. Azrael spoke of the gifts. How successful the ritual was, I don't know. I just know that I couldn't watch Azrael surrender 7 newborns to some demon at the cost of their mothers' lives.
And next you're going to tell me that these other 5 children are my siblings too. Septuplets, all born on the same day from the same mother.
Chiron, Calandra is not your sister.
I have a few more questions. Tell me more about my birth.
The ritual lasted for several hours. I had to wait until the Borbaradians had used all of their magical powers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a chance.
Did you see the demon?
Yes. That was the moment I knew I had to act. I lifted Calandra out of the summoning circle and took her hostage. Calandra's death would have caused the ritual to fail completely. With my knife at Calandra's throat, I forced Azrael to free your mother. You were not born yet. Azrael's astral energy was exhausted as well. She raged, but had to let us go. I fled south with you, away from the massives of the Black Sickle. Your mother was very weak. You were born on the wall of death. But your mother died in childbirth. So there I stood with 2 children in my arms, and I finally had a purpose.
And what was supposed to happen after the wedding?
Sooner or later, the church would have sent Folk somewhere else. Calandra would have gone with him.
And I would have stayed in Wurrunk and protected you from Azrael's revenge for the rest of my life. That was your plan, wasn't it?
I wanted to save your souls. I can only hope that you will understand that one day.
Did you want to marry Calandra off to separate her from me?
I did. I hoped that your gifts would never wake up if you were separated. Azrael stated repeatedly that the gifts strove together. I was sure from the start that this would confuse the feelings of those bearing the gifts. I've also seen the way Calandra has looked at you the last few moons. You are no longer children. It was only a matter of time before you... Well, you know.
And that's why the lie about us being siblings. You didn't just want to prevent us from mixing our blood.
Even kissing could have been dangerous.
And a heroic Rondrian bridegroom could have held Calandra in check if necessary, even with her powerful demonic gifts.
At least he could have saved her soul if she were to succumb to demonic temptation.
Why didn't you say anything all those years? Why did you say we were siblings?
No blood shed, no blood mixed. This is family. I've hammered that into you, because I still don't know exactly what that ritual did to you. But I did find out that your blood shouldn't be mixed, because that would awaken the demonic gifts you carry within you. That goes for you and all the other children who were born during the ritual.
So that's why you always kept us away from other people's children. You were afraid they too might have these gifts.
And that's why I also forbade you from healing one another. If your blood had mixed, the consequences would have been incalculable.
We have mixed our blood.
I know. Otherwise you wouldn't have been able to defeat that Heshtot in the market. The power of the gifts has awakened, and we do not know what effects they will have.
Why did she claim to be Folk's mother?
As a disguise, I suppose. She couldn't fool all Warrank with magic the way she deceived me.
She had him call her mother and used a hand mask. That can hardly be called a disguise. There must be more to it than that.
Maybe she really wanted to be Folk's mother. Don't be fooled by her behavior in the temple. If that woman can really feel some kind of love, then she will show it in very strange ways.
Tell me more about Azrael.
She is the head of the Church of Borberan. Clever, vile, very, very powerful. They say no one knows the teachings of the Demon Master better than she. She has a network of cultists and agents throughout the Shadowlands and probably beyond.
I can't believe that a mage that powerful was unable to capture a man and 2 children in 20 years.
I was vain enough to believe that my skills and some luck saved us time and again. Once the 2 of you could fight, it got easier. But Azrael was just waiting for the right moment to capture Calandra.
You were a Borberadian yourself. Can't you do magic?
No. And even if I could, I wouldn't do it. Borberadians pledged their souls to learn the secrets of blood magic. I wasn't ready for that. Azrael thought my faith wasn't strong enough. She was right. It wasn't faith that led me to the Borberadians.
Then what was it?
Don't make me talk about it. It's not important to you.
You lied to me all my life. Why should I believe you?
Please.
You stubborn old fool. Fine, have it your way.
Thank you, Chiron.
Damned Rondrians! I told you right from the start they weren't to be trusted.
The Rondrians are honorable warriors. It's just that with Folk they have the wrong man in charge, while Metropolitan Yakon is away from Warrank. But it would be wrong to underestimate Azrael. She wanted Calandra to be with Folk and in her sphere of influence. That's why she was pushing the wedding.
They've betrayed us. Folk never really wanted to marry Calandra. The whole thing was just a plot to deliver Calandra to Azrael.
But how could she have planned on your gifts awakening right at this moment? Why the old Rondra temple of all places? And why all the effort to summon the Heshtot?
If Folk is a tool of the Borberadian Church, he could increase their influence in Warunk, and that from behind the mask of a Rondrian.
I don't think Azrael is planning a violent coup. That's not her style. It would be more subtle. Find herself innocent aides who don't even suspect whom they're really serving.
The wedding of a senior Rondrian as a symbol for the masses, and in the old Rondra temple of all places. It was used as a necromantic brothel during the occupation.
Powerful symbols and bitter irony. That's Azrael's way.
Of course! The necromancer was also working for Azrael.
The attack on the refugee camp as a distraction to get all the Rondrians to look for the culprit there. That gave the necromancer enough time for the great summoning in the marketplace.
And Folk was to defeat the Heshtot to reap the glory and pull the Warunkians completely over to his side.
So that's why Folk sent you in to face the necromancer in the Prios temple. He wanted to get rid of you because he didn't think you stood a chance against the necromancer. The necromancer as sacrificial lamb. And with the Warunkian support, it would have been easy for Folk to dethrone Metropolitan Yakon upon his return.
And when I defeated the Heshtot, he had to deliver the necromancer to the Warunkians to reap at least a little glory. How could the Rondrians fall for Folk? How could they give an agent of Azrael so much power?
Folk is supported by those Rondrians for whom something other than just their honor counts, those who don't despise the Warunkians for what they did during the necromancer occupation.
And who did not die for their honor. Hell, the Warunkians had to survive somehow.
True enough. Even Yakon, the leader of the Rondrians, is likely to see that. But he evidently fears that the Warunkians will succumb to demonic temptations too lightly if not led by an iron fist. And Folk is using this dispute to his advantage. He has the more forgiving Rondrians on his side, and with them the Warunkians who don't want to blame themselves. Folk played his part well. And there's no doubt about his fighting ability. Why should the Rondrians distrust someone who fought side by side with them?
It's strange that the Warunkians were so easily sucked in by Folk. He's really not your typical Rondrian.
The Rondrians here are little better off than the refugees. The Warunkians don't love them, but they can't oppose them either. After all, they liberated the city from the necromancers. When the necromancers ruled here, the Warunkians did many things for which they would have been burnt at the stake anywhere outside the Shadowlands. Treason, denunciation, demon worship. Damn. Some even sold their dead relatives so that they could fight for the necromancers as undead soldiers.
Not to forget those who used both dead and undead for their art. From the bone carvers to the pimps, they all had customers.
I do not know how we would have behaved. For my part, I wouldn't want to hear any occupying forces telling me that everything I had done over the past few decades was all wrong and that I should have spent my life in atonement.
Whatever. We shouldn't just wait for someone to come and pick us up. Folk thinks he has won and Calandra is in Azrael's power.
Our guard is a young Rondrian. I'm sure he doesn't know what went on in the temple, and I don't think he's one of Azrael's followers either.
More likely a useful idiot who believes Folk. Maybe I can appeal to his honor and get him to make a mistake. But maybe I should find a weapon first. Good. I will find a way out. Now wait here. That thing wouldn't even scare a toothless granny. Not with that. Keep looking. Finally! This'll help me smash his teeth out. Listen to me.
I'm not going to talk to you, wretch.
Have pity on my old father. Look at him. Does he really deserve to languish in prison? He can barely hold a sword. Is it really necessary for him to stay here?
Granted, it is unlikely that he has killed my brothers in faith. But orders are orders.
You Rondrian hypocrites, you confuse stupidity and cowardice with courage and loyalty. Anyone who lets others order him around is a coward, that's the truth. And a church where everyone throws their lives to a rutty lioness is nothing but dirt.
That is blasphemy. I will no longer tolerate your dragging Rondra's good name through the dirt.
Your cat goddess doesn't scare me. Go ahead, kill me. The Dark Mother will welcome me. I will return as a nightmare and eat your soul while you sleep.
For the goddess! For Rundra!
Chiron. At last.
Oh, the best part is about to begin. I don't want to be late.
I know. We both had to wait far too long for this. You are strong. Your gift is powerful. If the circumstances were different, you could have been the last one standing. But your path ends here. Any last words before we begin? A little greeting for Calandra, perhaps? When I see her again, I could always shove a little souvenir into her mouth. Your fingers, for example. Your tongue.
Where has she taken her? Answer me, and I'll give you an hour's head start.
I'm so sorry. I don't answer the defeated. Men, take him! You useless klutz! Listen to me.
Tell me where Calandra is.
You will find one another. Your gifts will guide you. Gamat awaits you. He cannot be the last. Do you hear me? Brother, be the strongest of the awakened. Prove the worth of our sacrifice.
An answer, Folk! I need an answer!
My gift, it cries out to you. The beginning of the eternal struggle.
Folk! Where should I go?
Gamat awaits you. He cannot be the last. Not Gamat.
Falk betrayed us. The documents you produced prove that. And the same applies to those who fought at his side. They followed the wrong path. They had to be punished.
It was an honor, Metropolitan.
Falk hoped that his lax morals would bring him enough popularity amongst the people to allow him to divide the Lioness's servants and lay hands on my office. You prevented that from coming to pass. I'll see that you're rewarded. Warren should know that the Metropolitan provides for those who serve Rondra justly.
Thank you, Your Reverence.
The Church of Rondra shares in the loss of your sister, Chiron, and yet I must ask you for your help. We now know that Falk served the unholy Azaril Crimsonweed, but the writings he left behind point the way to a man he called his brother.
Gamat. Folk spoke of him.
That's right. The mysterious man who once led the sick from Warrank. They moved up to Clawmore. Now we have to fear for their souls.
So I'm supposed to follow the sick and save their souls. I just got out of the refugee camp. I'm lucky not to have caught the plague myself.
I cannot spare a single man until I've assured myself of their loyalty. I will conduct investigations and determine consequences. And since you have to face this on your own, I will now give you Rondra's blessing. For, as your soul is pure and God-fearing, the power of the Lioness will protect you, Chiron.
Too kind, Your Reverence, yet this is perhaps too much of an honor.
Credit where credit is due. You will receive Rondra's blessing.
Chiron.
What happened?
Consecrated ground. The Metropolitan's blessing. Rondra's presence does you harm. The goddess of war has rejected you.
I'm not a Pactera, Father. I never sold my soul.
I know, but your gift is demonic in origin. You use their power. That makes you an enemy of the 12 gods.
And yet I'm still alive.
I brought you out of the temple. The Rondrians were suspicious, but I guess they wanted to believe my lies.
What's the story on this Gamat? Falk's letters didn't say much about him.
People say he was a muddle-headed preacher who led the sick from the city a few moons ago with promises of salvation. Falk's letters suggest that the plague victims' exodus ended in the Clawmore in a village called Farnfield. He and Gamat seem to have known one another.
Why did so many of the sick follow him?
Gamat seems to have had some kind of healing artifact. He promised to heal all those who followed him.
And the authorities allowed this heresy because they were happy that the source of the plague was removing itself.
Possibly.
Why did so many of the sick follow him? And the
Rika from the refugee camp may know something about the Clawmore. Apparently, her lover went with Gamad.
What happened while I was unconscious?
With Falk's death, there is no longer a plague bailiff to ensure order in the refugee camp. I can't see Margrave Sumadan trusting another Rondrian with it. They're concerned with themselves at the moment. Yakon is checking his men thoroughly. Looks like there will be some duels of atonement soon.
What happened to Magus Theodore? Is he free again? After all, he helped save the city.
I saw him walking around freely, but only briefly, and then he was arrested by the guards. Seems he talked too loud again.
Of course. What else?
The Margrave was here. He didn't want to wake you, though.
We know that Falk wanted to become popular in Warunk by supporting the more tolerant Rondrians. But would that really have been enough to overthrow the Metropolitan?
The necromancer in the brothel, the marriage in the old Rondra temple, the great understanding for the Warunkians' actions during the occupation, those were all symbols for the people.
Falk was supposed to prepare the ground for Azaril's religion. Freedom through pain, power through will, every human a mage. It's the kind of thing that appeals to people who have to justify themselves all the time.
The summonings were supposed to escalate the whole thing. Falk would have presented the people the culprit, and Metropolitan Yakon would have been accused of abandoning the city in its time of need.
Everything would have come down to a duel with the Metropolitan. With his gift and Azaril's magical support, Falk would have won and taken Yakon's place. Calandra and I have been able to do magic ever since our blood mixed. My power grew when I killed Falk. It was as if something had passed from him to me.
Azaril once said the 7 gifts would seek one another out when their bearers awoke. It's demonic power that works according to Borberadian rules. Blood magic. You work magic with the essence of those you hurt.
But our souls, and those of the other awakened.
I don't know, Chiron. But your blackout in the Rondra temple could be bad news.
That my soul is damned.
Maybe not. You can only enter pacts with demons of your own free will. As long as you do not do so, there is still hope. Maybe even for those whose gift has been transferred to you. But the more you give yourself to your gift, the more power the demon may have over you, and perhaps Azaril as well.
Azaril wanted Calandra to join the Bolbarad Church from the very beginning. The wedding was only a trap to force Calandra to swear an oath. But then why did Azaril and Falk make so much of a fuss about the wedding, if they wanted to kidnap Calandra and imprison us anyway?
Azaril probably originally wanted to seduce Calandra over to the Borberad Church in a gentle manner. Trapped in an unhappy marriage with Falk, it would have been easy for her to win Calandra's friendship. Azaril has her own view of freedom and free will. She may have wanted Calandra to join by her own choice. A few moons after the wedding, Azaril would have had 2 powerful agents in Warunk. They would have secretly used Falk's power over the Rondrians for their plans. Your victories over Falk and his necromancer sped things up. Azaril had to respond. She could also have decided just when to awaken Calandra's gift, at least if she had had Falk under better control. He, too, was one of those children and could have awakened Calandra's gift as well as you.
By beating, for example. Damn, I don't want to imagine anything else. Calandra isn't my sister. That much I understand. But tell me again why you took us on as children, and why we had to flee for all those years.
Azaril, High Prophetess of the Church of Borberad, gave 7 children demonic powers at their birth. You and Calandra were 2 of the 7 awakened. I was serving Azaril at the time, and I couldn't watch her sacrifice your mothers and your souls to the demon. I interrupted the ritual. I kidnapped you both and hoped that the demonic gifts would wither. But that didn't happen. Your gifts awaken when your blood mixed.
It's almost funny. Rondra's power drops me in my tracks, and at the same time, the head Rondrian gives me an assignment.
You're the only one Yakon can trust now. He's taking the opportunity to learn something about the sick and Folk's allies. Maybe he saw you fighting and became suspicious. Your gift isn't all that unobtrusive. And as long as he can't be sure of his own people, your power represents a risk.
Well, he's lucky that this Gamad is my only trace to Calandra. Otherwise, I could get some stupid ideas.
Good luck in the Clawmore, Chiron. Let me know if I can help, and get in touch when you're back.
Yeah, but those bastards took everything from the armory they could get their grubby fingers on.
And you want to say they didn't give you any of it? You'd have starved long since.
Welcome, Chiron. How may I be of service, my friend?
Your face looks like it could use a tonic.
Yeah, but those bastards took everything from the armory they could get their grubby fingers on.
And you want to say they didn't give you any of it? You'd have starved long since.
That's Chiron.
Chiron thought long and deep about the events on his way to the Clawmore. What did the powerful sorceress Azaril want from his sister of all people? What had Falk meant when he had spoken of the dark side of the magical gift and the awakened as he lay dying? Chiron could only find the answer in the mysterious preacher who had once led the sick and ailing from Warung and was said to reside in a village called Fernfield, a man named Gamat.
Help! You sure showed them. Thanks.
Rio of Warunk?
How do you know my name?
Rika mentioned you.
Oh no. Does she still think of me?
She said you were her lover. And she seems to miss you very much.
Listen, she completely misunderstood. I am not her lover.
You followed the Exodus because you have the plague, right?
Honestly? No. I only acted like I was one of them. I wanted to be with my Latika.
I see. And who is Latika?
The most beautiful woman in the world. She's one of the chosen, you know?
What do you mean, chosen? And what are you doing here, anyway?
Latika was chosen to enter paradise. I'm gonna follow her soon. That's why I milk the spiders here.
You milk spiders?
We make jewelry from the spider silk. For the holy man's great ceremony, this eases the transition to paradise.
Who's Latika?
Well, Latika's the reason why I'm here. I love everything about her. She followed the holy man into the swamp, and I joined them. I left everything for her, including Rika, another girl in Warunk. And now, as one of the chosen, Latika has gone to paradise, and every day I pray that I might follow her.
What's this about a holy man?
His name is Gamat. He works great wonders.
A holy man? Really?
He's a savior. He eases the suffering of the chosen.
And when they are finally ready, he leads them to paradise.
What kind of paradise?
Paradise is a place of eternal bliss. Gamut has already been there, so he can judge who is ripe for transition.
Couldn't this holy man find anyone braver than you for the milking?
I volunteered. I wanted to impress him and Ulev. Ulev is my beloved Latika's father.
Not the best idea.
You know, it's not easy when you're not among the chosen. I have to convince Ulev somehow.
And that's why you need the spider silk?
Yes, but to be honest, I think I could use a little help.
What's in it for me?
Well, maybe I can help you somehow. In the swamp, I mean.
I'm looking for 2 women who traveled to Fernfield.
In an elegant carriage. They were there. Ulev would know more.
Guess I'll go see Ulev then.
You give me some spider webs, and I'll give you the password to get past the guard then. Take the rope bridge to the caverns in the northeast. Reuben used to say that the best spider webs can be found there. But that was before the beast ate him.
See you later.